Paul Walter to field, coming in from mid-wicket. End of another over. Proctor is 30, Zabe is 7. Steketee's now bowled 17 overs, 6 maidens, no wicket for 29. Northamptonshire 176 for 4. They need another 24 runs to record their first batting bonus point of this match. Essex already have a bowling bonus point to their credit. One more wicket would give them a second. And in the context of the season, we say it every year, but every point absolutely vital. I think Northamptonshire's 25 from their first 2 games was a reasonable return.
Here's Harmer in round the wicket, pushed defensively this time by Zabe.
And with all the discussions, Glenn, going on about what may happen with Championship in the coming seasons, you just need to finish as high as you can, I think.
Reverse sweep from Zabe, 4 runs. Diving Shane Snater, don't think he was actually really in the same ballpark as he dived, and away it goes for 4 runs, 176 for 180 for 4.
Yeah, plays that shot well. Obviously, as we say, he's been very successful in white ball cricket, going in down the order, and it's a shot he plays very well, shot he feels confident in playing, whereas Rob Keogh's preferred scoring stroke off the spinners is the orthodox sweep. For Zabe, he feels more comfortable going with the reverse sweep, I think.
Half century for Hasib Hameen for Nottinghamshire, but he was out next ball. 93 for 2 they are. Harmer giving that plenty of flight and just holding it back slightly, and Zabe steps out of his crease and drives up to mid-on, and there's no run. The skipper Tom Wesley fielding, and then works feverishly on the ball, one of those long red stripes down the back of his right thigh. Harmer is in once again, quicker, and Zabe just plays defensively and there's no run. He had his chance in the previous over did Simon Harmer, and he's trying to create another one now. All his variations coming out, slower balls, more flight, flatter, quicker, and he's in once again. Plenty of flight on that one. Zabe again driving up to Wesley for no run.
It's my imagination, Glenn, or is the breeze actually getting up a little bit?
It's just across us, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just watching it. The flags are now suddenly, there's the Northamptonshire flag, which in the interest of BBC balance I must mention, Northamptonshire flag is also there.
Here's Harmer in again, and just sort of aiming on the leg side of that one, and Zabe again plays defensively, and there is no run off the final ball of that over. Northamptonshire have moved on to 180 for 4. Proctor 30 from 88 deliveries, and Zabe 11 already from 18.
Yes, I did see the Northamptonshire scorer for this game, Quentin Jones, who'd got the flag. The old scorer's duty, wasn't it, to never forget the flag, and he got it there this morning. I'm just about to hand it over to be put on the other side of the pavilion. And while we're talking about scorers, must say good afternoon to Tony Kingston, who I'm sure will be listening this afternoon with his wife Judy back home in Northampton. Northampton's long-serving scorer who hasn't been able to start this season, but hope you're soon fighting fit, Tone, and we'll see you back on duty, Corporal Kingston. Here's Steketee starting another over to Proctor. Starts off with a ball of very full length, and he thought for a moment he might be through Proctor's defence, but he wasn't. Proctor on drove up to Shane Snater, who's fielding at mid-on, and there's no run. And Tony took over as first team scorer for Northamptonshire back in 1990, so done a few seasons.
Jurgen Klopp has signed a new 4-year contract with Liverpool in the other round ball game.
Association football. Here's Steketee in again, bowls to Proctor, this time pushes up to mid-off, and there's no run. And yeah, a bit of limbering up. So Tom Wesley was having a little swing of his arms then, and he thinks he might give himself an over or two. I suppose we are in the realms now of starting to think about getting through to the second new ball.
Useful little off spinner.
Yeah, well, he is going through his warm-up routine is almost as elaborate as Rob Keogh's, which is doubtless one that we shall see in the match to come. But here's Steketee in again round the wicket, bowls to Proctor on the back foot, pushes out square of the wicket on the offside for Cushy to come in and field. Yes, well, I have described Rob Keogh's warm-up routine as a mixture between Strictly Come Dancing and a Zumba class. It's extraordinary and wears you out just watching it. But I dare say he will have a a bowl at some point, particularly with Northamptonshire going into this match without Simon Kerrigan, the left-arm spinner, left out, the one change from the team that drew with Yorkshire. Tom Taylor coming in for him. His Steketee into Proctor, comes across his stumps, works it just behind square for a couple of runs, fielded down there by Sam Cook, and they're through for 2. Proctor up to 32, Northamptonshire to 182 for 4. That was a very Proctor-like stroke.
He wouldn't be a very good poker player, Mark Steketee, would he? because
No.
The frustration that cut across his face and his body language as he just strayed onto middle and leg there, just told absolutely everything. I've bowled so well, he's thinking. Bowled so well before and after lunch and after tea, and I still haven't got a reward, and then I go and do that.
I think he's finding bowling to Luke Proctor a wee bit frustrating. He's in again, and Proctor again just dabs him down on the onside. He's going to get a single up to mid-wicket, with Paul Walter coming across in front of Snater. One more to Proctor, 33 to him, 183 for 4. Yes, I would imagine with that very open stance of his and his individual method, he must be slightly frustrating to bowl at, but as we've been saying, mightily effective. And say from a Northamptonshire point of view, I think I quite like the idea of him batting at 4. I mean, he has batted 3 and he has opened before, but I think slotting in at 4 here works quite well.
Yeah, his style is not going to have people beating down the gates
No,
very quickly.
no,
However,
it's not a thing of great beauty,
it's not how, it's how many.
And beaten outside the off stump by Zabe. Good strong finish to the over by Mark Steketee, standing there with hands on hips, as if to say, what have I got to do? Well, I'm saying he's gone wicketless so far, but he has bowled very well, I say, particularly after lunch. His figures, 18 overs, 6 maidens, no wicket for 32. Don't really tell anything like the story. Proctor is 33, Zabe is 11. Northamptonshire 183 for 4. And it's going to be Harmer to continue rather than Tom Wesley.
Yes, this county cricket can break a man, can't it? And Mark Steketee's frustrations are not boiling over, but they're very much to the surface, because he deserves reward for what he's done so far today. He could bowl worse and he might have a fifer. Simon Harmer continuing then from the River End, 183 for 4. He's around the wicket to Proctor, who's got 33 so far. He's in and just propping forward and playing defensively out to Shane Snater at backward point, and there's no run. Yeah, so he's got his own way, Proctor, and it's very, very effective. And he's played very, very well, this open stance that he has, as Harmer whirls away once again, and it's met with the same response, which is a straight bat, this time back to him for no runs. People turning around in front of us to chat to people behind them, before he tells you about what they think about what they're seeing at the moment from an Essex perspective. Harmer in, and it's floated up and it's turned behind square on the onside, just past the man at short leg, but it's tied it up and there's no run again.
I was just watching the replay of that, the Corton bowl, the Matt Critchley one, to get rid of Rob Keir before tea. What a superb grab that was, left-handed, mid-air, terrific catch.
Harmer is in again, slightly flatter, and again Proctor just playing defensively for no run. Doing a really good job here. And just seems to have steadied things down a little bit after they came out trying to play shots straight after tea. Here's Harmer, quicker. Proctor plays defensively once again to the penultimate ball of this Simon Harmer's 17th over, none for 44 so far, 4 maidens. Still wearing the sunglasses, the shades as he bowls, tossing the ball from hand to hand, and he's in once again. Short approach, and Proctor, well, you could put that on repeat, couldn't you? It's another defensive push back down the wicket. End of Simon Harmer's over, a maiden one it is. 17 overs for him now, none for 44, and Northamptonshire are 183 for 4.
Yes, but the Luke Proctor forward block on almost on loop, couldn't you? And well, it will keep you warm through the winter if you're a Northamptonshire supporter. We're going to see Steketee to continue. As I say, no wicket for 32 from 18. He really has been very impressive since lunch. Now, as far as Northamptonshire are concerned, with 8 overs to go till the second new ball, we're very keen not to lose another wicket before then. Here's Steketee in, bowling to Zabe, who's again playing inside that and Mark Steketee's follow through, taking him very close to the batsman, and he's ticking, I think is the modern expression, isn't it? Somebody is just heading in the general direction of being somewhat disgruntled, which is putting it mildly.
He might explode if he gets a wicket.
Yeah, it's like a sort of pressure cooker bowling at the moment, but Northamptonshire would not really want to have a new batsman having to come in to face the new ball. Needless to say, here's Steketee in again, and again he beats Zabe outside the off stump. And we talked about the Luke with the previous over, the Luke Proctor forward defensive to keep you warm through the winter. Well, you could almost put this on loop at the moment. It's a torrid time for safe Zabe. If he gets through this, he'll know he's been in a tussle. But it's a good contest, and you know, anybody who tells you that county cricket lacks intensity, suggest that to Mark Steketee at your cost. Is Steketee in again, bowls, and the third time in a row he slants that across the left-hander, and now this is almost a sort of a ripple of laughter around the ground, because it's become somewhat predictable. We talked about previous game about Mystic Mal, because Mal Loy predicted very close the Northamptonshire second innings score at the end of the match when they started their innings on Saturday afternoon. So we talked about Mystic Mal, but you wouldn't need to be Mystic Mal to sort out what's happening here. Is Steketee steaming in again from the Hayes close end, bowls to Zabe, who again a driver to no ball. Well, that sort of breaks the sequence in a way, but it's 4 plays and misses in a row. This time Steketee just trying a little bit too hard. He oversteps. 2 more onto the total. 185 for 4.
Is that 4 in a row now?
That's 4 in a row.
I guess you probably don't count the no ball. That effectively doesn't exist. But
no, but it does in a sense. In this batsman's mind, it'll be 4 in a row. Put it that way. There are 3 slips and a gully, waiting for a possible edge. Now, what's going to happen this time? Is Steketee in again? Bowls to Zabe. Now, I reckon he may just have played inside that one. It wasn't as full-blooded a stroke as the previous 4. The upshot was exactly the same. It went past the outside edge into the gloves of Adam Wheater, and now Luke Proctor's coming down and having a chat with him. And well, as is often the case in these circumstances, you'd love to be a fly on the wall, wouldn't you, and just hear what's being said.
Zabe saying, "I'm trying to hit it."
Yes. Honest Gov.
Yeah.
There is, of course, it's worth mentioning, a yawning gap between mid-off and backward point. There's a huge gap through the covers, so if he does middle one, there are runs to be had. Is Steketee in again? Bowls to Zabe, and exactly there, the big gap, and this time he's found the gap, and it's running out towards the standard extra cover. It's a long chase back there for Feroz Kushi, who pulls it in around about 15 yards in, and they come through for 2 more runs. It was a tad fuller, and it also, he's got this sort of double setup where he sets up and then will come across in front of, further across his stumps and line up around off stump or just outside. He did it there and managed to get a bat on it and picks up 2 runs, 13 to Zabe, and Northamptonshire to 187 for 4. All part of the learning process, the coaches will tell you. 1 ball to go in the over. Here's Steketee in, and just to establish a semblance of equilibrium, he plays and misses outside the off stump. Steketee's got his hands on his thighs. You can hear what the crowd think about it. They're applauding him, and rightly so, because it's been an outstanding over. But from Northamptonshire's point of view, Zabe is still there. He's 13, Proctor 33, Northamptonshire 187 for 4. We've had 73 overs, so 7 more to go until the new ball. That was a good little passage of play, wasn't it?
A little tussle, wasn't it? On a personal deal, you could just have had those 2 out there and nobody else.
Well, it was like, Glenn, towards during large expanses of the Northamptonshire blockathon against Yorkshire with Will Young against Harris Ralph. I mean, that was a terrific confrontation, and like I say, no intensity in county cricket. Rubbish.
Harmer in and bowling to Proctor. Meantime, it's resumed at the other end of Proctor straight bat against Simon Harmer's off spin. At the other end, it's the outside edge of Zabe's bat against Mark Steketee. It's good, isn't it? It's good stuff. Here's Harmer in again. Proctor on the back foot, cuts away behind square, and that'll run away from Shane Snater. He may have to put the slide in here, just hauls it in inside the rope, and they come back for 3 well judged runs. Good piece of fielding, good shot, 190 for 4.
Now I wonder if we'll see the reverse sweep come out with Zabe facing Harmer. That was his favoured option earlier on against Harmer. Played it pretty well.
Yeah, and he's had a little look over there as well. Snater's just behind square as Harmer is in, gives that plenty of flight, and just pushed out to. There's Matt Critchley there at extra cover, short extra cover, tidying up, no run. Harmer bowling without reward. He's got a slip in and a forward short leg in again, and Zabe just adjusts his body shape to push it into the onside, where Kushi in for the injured Dan Lawrence for this game. Having scored a century for the seconds in the week, tidies up, and Harmer has ball back in hand. Flatter this time on the leg stump and worked in front of square on the onside. Kushi again has to sprint across, picks up 191 for 4. And it's all a bit quiet out there at the moment from an Essex perspective, just waiting for this next breakthrough. Well, Northamptonshire have done a really good job here. So Harmer is in again, plenty of flight, dip on that as well. Proctor plays defensively. He's made 36, Zabe has 14. It's the end of another Simon Harmer over. 74 overs gone now. We are whipping through them today. It's only just approaching 25 to 5.
I know, we might be on undertime rather than overtime here. It's interesting, off the last ball of that over, you say he just pushed it up and came through for quite a quick single, just Tom Wesley a little bit on his heels. And I wonder if it was in Luke Proctor's mind, let me take a little bit of Mark Steketee and just let Safe Zabe have a little bit of a breather at the non-striker's end, having had that torrid time in the previous over when there were 7 balls bowled, including the no ball, and he played and missed at 6 of them. Or I reckon probably 5.5, let's say, because I think one of them he probably just did play inside the line. Anyway, we have a change of bowling at the far end, and it's going to be Paul Walter coming back into the attack. Bowled 2 overs for 6 towards the end of the afternoon session, and he's coming back into the attack from the Hayes close end with a slip and a gully. Left arm over, and he bowls to Proctor, who paddles that around the corner for a single round to deep square. Proctor up to 38 and Northamptonshire to 193 for 4, which brings Zabe on strike. Walter, as he was saying, Glenn, hasn't bowled a huge amount recently.
No, so he arrived at the club as a bowling all-rounder. He's turned himself into a batsman, a proper frontline batsman, as it were.
Here he is again, bowling to Zabe, who covers up, pushes out on the offside. They go through for quick single, well judged. And this is good cricket from these two, just looking to rotate the strike. It was Nick Brown who came in from extra cover, and they pick up 1 more run. Zabe up to 15 and Northamptonshire to 194 for 4. 6 more runs to get a first batting bonus point, which seemed almost like distant fantasy land last year when they were batting here. Here's Walter in again, bowls to Proctor, just turns that off his hip. I'm not sure if he actually got any bat on it. I don't think he did. Looks as there's a pre-signal from Tom Lungley up there, and it's going to be called as a leg bye, and it is. So it just came off the thigh pad. A little bit of a trot round for Simon Harmer to field. 1 more onto the total, 195 for 4. Yes, at the risk of sounding like the 4 Yorkshiremen sketch, prospect of a batting bonus point for Northamptonshire last year would have been luxury. Here's Walter again from the Hayes close end, bowls to Zabe short, and Zabe looks to pull, and again I'm not sure if he's got any bat on this or not. I think he might have just got a little bit of bottom edge on it onto the pad. Yes, he has, and Harmer completes the fielding, and they come through for a single. 1 more to Zabe, he goes to 16, Northamptonshire to 196 for 4, so 3 singles and a leg bye off the 4 balls so far in this Paul Walter over. His 3rd of the innings, 75th of the innings overall. Walter in again, bowls to Proctor. Proctor just dead bats that back down the pitch for Walter to field off his own bowling, and there's no run. It's good to see. We're talking about the size of the crowd first thing. I think pretty much everyone, certainly over this side of the ground, has stayed. There's very few empty seats over to our right. It's been good absorbing stuff without anything terribly spectacular. Here's Walter in again, bowls to Proctor, who drops it down at his feet, and Zabe calls him through for quick single. Bit of fancy footwork from Simon Harmer coming in from mid-wicket, boots the ball onto the stumps, dislodges a bail, but the batsman was home. So the end of the over, 197 for 4, Proctor is 39, Zabe is 16. Walter's bowled now 3 overs for 10, and I'm sure Tom Wesley's thoughts starting to turn to the second new ball, which is now 5 overs away.
Yeah, the game's almost in sort of holding pattern at the moment,
yes,
isn't it?
Yeah, 21 overs to go in the day minimum, but as I say, we're only at 20 minutes to 5. It's not going to be overtime, I don't think.
Harmer in again. Oh, and that's very fine. Pushed down there by Proctor, and there is no one at long leg, so goes scuttling away to pick up the ball, and there's a couple of runs, and that brings up the. Did it bring up the Northamptonshire 200? Because the two scoreboards have got two very different. They had 199 before, so not yet. Two scoreboards had two different scores up. Such was the case here at Chelmsford for much of the season, to be perfectly honest with you.
Is that multiple choice?
Yeah, well, the first game of the season, the big scoreboard was going backwards at one point. Here's Harmer, one short of the 200 here, Northamptonshire, and pushed defensively out to the onside where Coochie collects, and there's no run. That's not Coochie, that's Tom Wesley now there. Coochie's moved up to mid-on, and Tom Wesley's gone in at mid-wicket. Wesley, as ever, feverishly works on the ball, examines it. There's Harmer around the wicket, into Proctor once again, outside of the face of the bat from Proctor. It dribbles out to the offside, there's no run. And Ringer fielders on the offside as Harmer comes in. Got the leg slip in there as well, and pushed back down the pitch for no run. I'll leave you after this over, bring Don back in as we head up towards the 5 o'clock hour. 20 to 5 it is now. Here's Harmer in. A bit more air, and there is turn there, but it's one outside off stump to start with, so Proctor can just watch that one go by. He's moving to 41 now. 16 to Zabe. Bit of encouragement from the wicketkeeper Adam Wheater. Harmer is in again, slower, a bit more loop on it, pushed out defensively, and there's no run. That's the end of the over then, so Northamptonshire having put into bat a lot earlier on in the day, 199 for 4.
Yes, and as we say, it's as Glenn described it as a holding pattern, and that's absolutely right. 4 overs to go until the second new ball is due. Very pleasant evening now, the sun is out, and just 1 or 2 spectators may be thinking about heading home for tea or supper or dinner or whatever is called down in this part of the world. It varies from place to place. Here's Paul Walter. Toppers rejoins us. Afternoon again, Don.
Afternoon, Andrew.
And here's Walter running in to bowl another over from the Hayes close end. The first ball to Zabe is clipped away to mid-wicket, and there's no run.
A typical attritional day for me, whereby some might suggest it's been a tad slow. We've sat in when there's not been too many runs scored. Northamptonshire have batted quite nicely at times, haven't got away too hard with runs.
Big appeal for Walter, that's close and he's out. And that looked a very, very good shout from here. And Zabe was caught a little bit firm-footed on the crease, and we were saying that Essex would dearly love a wicket before the second new ball to get a new batsman in before the new ball is due, and they've got it. Zabe goes LBW to Walter for 16. Inspired bit of captaincy by Tom Wesley, and Northamptonshire 199 for 5. That looked pretty plumbed on from where we were.
It did. Tall bowler, perhaps it didn't bounce as much as he expected, but nonetheless it looked pretty adjacent to me, and I think we were both sort of concerned that it was going to be given out, and it was. Listen, that is a super wicket for the county to get just before the new ball, and I was trying to just go into the fact that it's been quite attritional in many respects. Northamptonshire haven't got away with the runs. They've been pegged back at every so often, but now it just opens the door a little bit for Essex with the new ball. Now, I don't want to be greedy, but if I was Essex, I'd be saying I want 2 or 3 with the new ball.
Yeah.
And
sure.
if I was Northamptonshire, I'd say, for whatever sake, we just can't afford to lose wickets with the new ball. We need a bit of luck, we need a bit of skill, we need to negotiate as best we can the rest of the evening to ensure we bat again tomorrow morning. But this is a crucial sort of hour, 4 overs to the new ball.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And it's going to be a testing time, I suspect.
Yeah, just having a look at that LBW, and
Just look right.
Zabe was almost walking. I think, to be honest, almost before the umpire's finger went up. Yeah, I think he knew, and we knew, and the bowler knew, and the umpire definitely knew, and Zabe had to go for 16. So I say big wicket for Paul Walter. Timely, I think is the word. Lewis McManus is the new batsman at the crease.
Who is a very capable batsman, scored decent runs for Hampshire in Division 1.
Yep, 62 not out, last time out to help save the game against Yorkshire, and he's facing his first ball from Walter, and he's in behind that, pushing it up towards short extra, where it's fielded by Simon Harmer, and there's no run. Yes, McManus without a squad number on his back, but as we mentioned earlier on, news from Northamptonshire today that his loan period from Hampshire has been extended for a while longer, at least until the end of this present run of county championship matches, so he's going to be with Northamptonshire for another month. And he's facing this ball from Walter, short of a length, and he's off the mark as he just drops that down on the onside square of the wicket, and they come through for a single, and it brings Northamptonshire the 200, which means they get a batting bonus point. Essex, of course, needing another wicket to make it 2 for them. 3, 6 and 9 for the bowling points, for the batting points. Every 50 runs, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400. And that's the first one in the bag. Here's Proctor facing on 41. Walter in, bowling to him, and it's on his legs, which is just where he likes it, and he turns it round the corner. For Faraz Kushi, who's been just about everywhere today, now finds himself at long leg. Comes in off the boundary and fields that, sending his return, immediately sprints off into a new fielding position at backward square.
He looks a very athletic young lad,
doesn't he just? Yes,
Hey,
full of...
Do you remember when we were like that?
Personally, no. I don't think I've ever been like that, Don. No. But I was, as I'm always told, I was born at the age of 35, so it makes it a bit difficult. 201 for 5. Walter in, bowls outside the off stump. McManus shoulders arms and lets it go through to Adam Wheater. End of the over. 201 for 5. Northamptonshire, applause for Walter. Successful in that over. 4 overs, no maidens. 1 for 12. Proctor is 42. McManus has made 1. Yeah, May played well, Don, at Northampton on Sunday. 62 not out to help save the match. Batted for a while with Will Young, of course, and then when Young went, I was really impressed with his cricket nous, because he was prepared to play second fiddle and just the supporting role when Young was out there. Then Young got out, and he knew he had to take responsibility, and he did.
You're talking about McManus?
McManus, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him score quite a number of runs. I mean, he's. It's interesting they're going to potentially call him back, or whenever the loan deals till, because Brown didn't play too much white ball cricket for Sussex over the years. This time Harmer's in, bowls quite a quicker delivery, well fielded at backward point by Snater. He's bowling to the left-handed, I've forgotten, Luke Proctor.
Yes, not to be confused with Mike. Slightly different, different cricketers.
Low. Oh, that ball turn. That's genuinely one of the first we've seen turn from a length. Nothing untoward, just gripped and bounced and missed the edge. Good bit of bowling from Harmer. So we've got a leg slip and a slip. Those are the two close catches. Bowls again. This time he smothers the spin back towards the bowler. Bit of rubbing on the ball to shine the ball up for the seamers. Wesley's got it, gives it to his bowler, one bounce. Harmer's ready, and he comes around the wicket to the left-handed Proctor. He bowls. This time drags Proctor forward, smothers the spin, goes into the offside. There is no run. Ring on the offside with a catcher sort of on the drive and a ring on the leg side. No deep square for the left-hander. Harmer's in bowls. This is just a slight bit of turning wide and left alone outside the off stump. Bit of sunshine, the odd shadow creeping towards the east from the west. Harmer bowls a slightly quicker delivery, which concludes the end of the over. 201 for 5. We've had 78 overs. 2 overs remaining before Essex can opt for that new ball. And I'm pretty sure Snater and Cook and Steketee will be eager to operate with it at the earliest opportunity.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right, Don. Yeah, it's interesting you were saying about McManus there. I think Northamptonshire would like to keep him all season.
I'm sure.
But it's a question, as you say, of whether Hampshire decide they want him back as a batsman.
Because Brown captained the Red Bull at Hampshire, but didn't always keep, because you had likes of Burgess, then you had the Aussie. What's the Aussie? Carey. Carey played at Sussex for a while.
Here's Walter starting another over, buoyed by his wicket in the previous one. Bowls to McManus.
Lewis McManus scored some decent runs in white ball cricket.
He has, and scored them quickly as well. So that may be
quite awkward to bowl at.
Yes, I mean the options that Northamptonshire would have in terms of white ball keeping, I suppose Vasconcelos has done it, but they would rather him not have to do it as well as bat up the order, because he wouldn't be captain in the T20 because Josh Cobb captains. Here's Walter, and again bowls to McManus, who pushes out into the offside, fielded by Harmer there in the covers, and there's no run. Harry Gouldston, who's played some red ball cricket for Northamptonshire, hasn't played white ball for Northamptonshire.
Is that the son of
Mark? Yes, absolutely.
Who has played for both counties, but not necessarily at first.
Not at the first team level, no, that's right.
Second team level, definitely.
Here's Walter. That's a little dab by McManus, and I think he was, whether that was just stuck in the pitch a little bit, he looked as though he was thinking about running it down, and in the end he's having a very suspicious look at the pitch. It's an odd looking stroke. Unfortunately for him, in fact, I was thinking about back to the Yorkshire match, the first innings when he was out, caught by Lythe at second slip. It was almost just guided it. It looked like slip catching practice, just flick of the wrists, guided it straight into Adam Lythe's hands at second slip. Here's Walter, and again, bowls to McManus. That's better, just pushing that out in the offside for Harmer to field out in the covers, and there's no run. Yes, Mark came to Northamptonshire after playing for Essex Seconds, and then played some first team cricket for Northamptonshire. Obviously Harry on the staff now, and Harry's great grandfather John Oliver played for Northamptonshire in some wartime matches. Played for Bedfordshire for many years. J.A.R. Oliver, but also played for Northamptonshire during the war. Here's Walter, bowls short, and McManus just sways out of the way.
Ollie Pope's missed out on 100. He's got 84. Payne's got his second wicket. 197 for 4. Are Surrey haven't been inserted.
It's a decent recovery because there were not many for 3. They lost the first 3 very quickly.
Hampshire 225 for 7, having been 40 for 5.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pattern there, isn't there? But not at Taunton. Here's Walter, and again bowling to McManus, who fiddles outside the off stump, and it beats the outside edge, goes through to Wheater. Applause for Walter for coming very close to picking up another wicket. 201 for 5. Proctor is 42. McManus is 1. We've had 79 overs, so one more over. And the second new ball will be due. Yes, at Taunton, Somerset 262 for 2. And they're off a bad light at Headingley, I see, where
really?
Kent 200 for 4 against Yorkshire. Nottinghamshire already closing in on a first innings lead against Worcestershire at Trent Bridge in Division 2. Worcestershire 159 all out. Notts 120 for 2. Derbyshire 249 for 2 against Glamorgan at Derby. Here's Harmer.
On his way in, bowls from the River End. This is left alone by Luke Proctor through to the keeper, no run.
At Lords, Leicestershire 149 all out against Middlesex, who were 43 for no wickets, and at Hove, Durham 221 for 9 against Sussex.
Harmer in again. This is a sweep. There's no deep backward square, and that's going to run away for 4, as it does on the 45 angle. 4 more runs. Good execution, good control, good looking shot against quite a good delivery, but 4 runs to Northamptonshire.
I was thinking back, Don, to that game here last year, the back end of the season, which was all over in 4 sessions, and the only batsman you would say on that occasion that even looked likely to hold Essex up for any length of time was the man out there now, Luke Proctor.
Comes forward, smothers the spin, plays it into the offside. There is no run. Decent delivery, but well negotiated with a straightforward defensive bat. Crouching, leg slip and a slip. Harmer bowls a little bit quicker, just offers a touch of turn, goes wide and wider to the keeper's gloves, no run. Even less wind now, really, here at the Cloud FM County Ground. Harmer round the wicket bowls a little quicker, a little straighter, played with the full face of the bat into the leg side. There is no run.
Can reveal, Don, that boundary took Luke Proctor past 5,000 first class runs.
Well done. He's waiting, quicker ball, shorter, played into the leg side. There is no run. End of the over. 205 for 5. We've now had 80 overs. I'll be surprised if Walter comes back on, and in fact I'm right, he won't. It's going to be Sam Cook.
And so I think we're going to see the new ball, which has been passed from one umpire to the other.
Yep.
205 for 5. So Northamptonshire in an ideal world, yes, and it is. It's being held up to the scorers. So we have the second new ball, which is going to be in the hands of Sam Cook, and he's going to bowl from the Hayes close end to Lewis McManus. Yeah, Northamptonshire in an ideal world would have thought, well, you know, we could do without a new batsman having to come in to face the second new ball, but McManus is, as we say, a very capable player. Just hasn't made the most prepossessing of starts here. He's been a little bit fiddly around the off stump, but he's still there. Now the field forming for Cook, we have 3 slips, inevitably Sir Alistair at first, Harmer at second, and Matt Critchley at third, Nick Brown in the gully, Snater at backward point, big gap then in the covers. They have extra cover mid-on, mid-wicket and a long leg as Cook comes in with the new ball, bowls to McManus, plays the first ball up to mid-on, and there's no run.
McManus is quite good with the short ball, not being a particularly tall keeper. He latches onto the short ball square on the offside or leg side. Good with the cross bat, pull and hooking.
Well, as I say, he showed what he could do with the bat in the previous match. Northamptonshire just need him to continue in the same vein as Cook comes in, bowls to him, pushes out the offside, thinks about a single, but it's not there. As Tom Wesley, the Essex captain, comes in from extra cover. Really wasn't a single there. And Luke Proctor was going absolutely nowhere, leaning on his bat at the non-striker's end.
Sam Cook, 16 overs, 2 for 27. Snater, 14 overs, 1 for 38. Steketee, 19 overs, 0 for 36.
Here's Cook in again, bowling to McManus. Plays that up to mid-on, and there's no run.
Harmer 21 overs, 0 for 55. Critchley 5 overs, 1 for 21. Walter 5 overs, 1 for 12. So you can see where the bulk of the overs have been bowled. Out of the 80 overs, 70 have been completed by Cook, Snater, Steketee and Harmer. Harmer going for 2.6, Steketee 1.8, Snater 2.7, Cook 1.6.
Cook in again, bowls to McManus, who's up on his toes, dropping it down on the onside for Walter to come in from mid-wicket to field. And you have to say, I suppose from Tom Westley's point of view, he's going to be highly delighted that he's managed to fiddle, and I don't mean that in any pejorative sense, a couple of wickets, one from Critchley, one from Walter,
very much
leading
so.
up to the second new ball. And it's very, very important in the context of the match. On each occasion, just as a little partnership was forming.
Yep.
45 for the fourth wicket, 39 for the fifth. Here's Cook in again, bowls to McManus, who's head over the ball, smelling it, plays it back down the pitch for Cook to field off his own bowling, and there's no run.
I mean, I used the word attritional earlier. I don't want to use turgid because I'm doing it a disservice. But the wicket's been slow, and it's been quite slow as a passage of play, but that's not to say it's been not intriguing.
Here's Cook, bowls to McManus, who steers that away wide of gully. It's running down towards the boundary at third man. Snater is absolutely haired after that, and I think he's just managed to claw it in out of our sight, but if so, that was a terrific bit of fielding, and he's getting a pat on the back from Matt Critchley, and rightly so. And it keeps it down to 2 runs. So McManus up to 3, Northamptonshire to 207 for 5. Set off after that, like the greyhound after the electric hare. And my concern, watching him running down there, was whether he was going to be able to stop before he got to the board. But he just managed to claw it back, and now he's actually going to be back into the attack to share the new ball from this river end. So 207 for 5. And it is going to be Snater to bowl this at this river end. Yeah, I suppose, Don, in so many things, context is important, and however much players and coaches can deny that these things, the scarring is there, I think there is, without any doubt, a little bit of scarring from last year. From what happened, but I do. From what happened here, it's interesting. Every spectator, every supporter you talk to, you say, at Chelmsford, they say, "Oh no, we'll see you tomorrow." Then, So I think there's a few demons to be exorcised here.
Snater, right arm around the wicket, bowls. This is dragged into the leg side by the left-handed Luke Proctor. It goes to Steketee at mid-on. There is no run. Good start, good loosener. Crowd still staying. Sun is coming through as what I can only call as a sort of thin haze. There are shadows out there. Snater turns. Right arm over around the wicket again. He bowls. It's clipped into the leg side. They look for a quick single, and rightly so. Smart single. Good call from Luke Proctor, and there is 1 run. 208 for 5.
I shall just update BBC Radio Northampton into their 5 o'clock news, and I shall be back with you in a moment.
You can tell them that we've got the sun shining here on the righteous in Chelmsford. It's a slight field movement for the right-handed batsman. He's taking guard also. McManus up at the Hayes close end against Steketee from the city end, the river end. Steketee bobbing along, bowls, and a good forward defence from Lewis McManus. There is no run. Really is a dry area at the moment. Chelmsford, this part of Essex, the Suffolk borders, devoid of some rain and water, quite dry. crops, the garden. Oh, played away from his body. Not a lot of foot movement. Inside edge onto his pad. Could have easily gone onto his stumps, but alas, no run. 208 for 5. This is the second over of this second new ball. And you're listening to Don Topley, Glenn Speller, along with Andrew Radd from BBC Radio Northampton, BBC Essex, live coverage of this ball-by-ball commentary. Outside off stump, through to the keeper, wide and wider. Didn't have to play, walks away, does Lewis McManus. Lovely evening. Just maybe the temperature's just starting to go down, but it is a delightful late afternoon here with the time just after 5 o'clock. If you're listening to us on the way home, have a safe journey. If you're listening to us in the garden, enjoy it whilst gardening. That's a nice looking shot, quite full, clipped into the leg side. It's not stopped by Steketee at mid-on. They take one, they come back for the second. Nice looking shot to complete the over, and the score moves to 210 for 5.
Yes, I said it was a sunny evening at Chelmsford, and everybody should book their holidays here because obviously it's the place to come. I just heard what you're saying. It's very dry, isn't it? This whole eastern half of the country certainly.
It really is. Suffolk, Essex borders. I drove through Constable country this morning to get to the main thoroughfare that is the A12, and I counted so many farmers who've already started irrigation, or they're putting their pipes down, laying their pipes down. That must be a huge worry. We're not even in May, and they're having to irrigate the crops.
Here's Cook starting a fresh over, round the wicket, bowling to Proctor, who shoulders arms, and it goes through to Adam Weeder. Alistair Cook going for a little run to keep himself loose. Still got an hour or so to go before close of play.
Are you a gardening man?
I'm not really. No, my wife's very good in that direction. But no, it's pretty much the same in Northamptonshire as well. It's been very dry. We've had very little rain in the last few weeks. Oh my goodness, Cook round the wicket to Proctor, and Proctor jabbing down on it, got a thick inside edge, and he wasn't sure where it had gone. I think he feared it might just be rolling back onto the stumps, but fortunately for him, it didn't. And Alistair Cook again running from his position at first slip out towards square leg. He just feels the need to keep himself a little bit loose, I think.
Yes.
So yeah, it is very dry. But that said, it's still, the outfield's pretty lush.
Well, once you get not the drought, but once it becomes drier, you get the fairy rings, don't you?
Yes, that's right.
They start to turn up.
Cook again, bowling outside the off stump to Proctor, who again shoulders arms, watches it goes into the gloves of Adam Weeder,
which is a fungi, and you don't enjoy them on the cricket squares because it's technically a bit of a disease, but
groundsmen hate it, don't they?
They do.
Absolutely hate it.
You won't be surprised, having stood on manicured grass most of my life, I do enjoy a little bit of manicured grass at home.
Here's Cook again round the wicket to Proctor, who pushes it out into the covers where it's fielded there by Feroz Cushy. Looking forward to seeing him bat coming into the Essex side on the back of runs in the second team. Did mention earlier, in case you weren't with us from Northamptonshire's point of view, a second heavy victory, a big victory in the second 11 championship, back to back, beat Leicestershire by 274 runs today at Kibworth, having won the previous match against Kent by 260 something runs. So they've had a good couple of weeks. Northamptonshire seconds. Here's Cook in again, bowls to Proctor, drives out into the covers, didn't time it. Cushy comes and fields and sends in a quick throw, and it was a little bit too quick for the man coming round backing up because they've got an overthrow. And well, that's a bit of a bonus run for a little drop on the offside. Proctor picks up 2 more runs and goes to within 1.5 century, 49 to him, and Northamptonshire up to 212 for 5.
Played well. We've had a tweet. What's the future for Jamie Porter? Oh, plenty. There will be some squad rotation, I am sure. But it's all well and good just at the moment.
Cook bowls to Proctor, who turns that just behind the square, where it's a sharp bit of fielding there on the edge of the square, and they don't get a run. 49 to Proctor. So having just gone past 5,000 runs in his first class career. 212 for 5, Proctor's 49, McManus is 5. Sam Cook 18 overs, 5 maidens, 2 for 31. Picked up the wickets of Vasconcelos first thing this morning, 3rd ball of the match, and then just after lunch Will Young, LBW offering no shot, he was out for 63. Century partnership between Young and Emilio Gay. They put on exactly 100 for the 2nd wicket, but since then, as Don was saying, it's been hard going for both sides in a sense, and just about parity at the moment as Steketee starts another over and beats McManus outside the off stump. Goes through to Adam Wheater. McManus, so he made a slightly nervy start, having played so well against Yorkshire. And the news that his loan period at Northamptonshire has been extended, and still they won't give him a number on his back. It hardly seems fair. Here's Shane Snater running in again to bowl to him, and McManus pushing that up to mid-off, where it's fielded by Tom Wesley, and there's no run. I say a squad number on the back. Of course, he is Northamptonshire's 532nd first-class player, having made his first-class debut for the county in the opening match against Gloucestershire. Since then, of course, Will Young and Matt Kelly have also played, so their numbers 533 and 534 in the all-time list. Do Essex do that as well, Don? To have the numbers according to debut? Come back. We'll come back in a second. Here's Snater in again, bowling to McManus, pushes up to Walter at mid-on, and there's no run.
Do you know, I'm not 100% sure. They do your formal cap.
Ah, right. Okay.
So,
yeah. I think all counties do things slightly differently.
Yeah. When you get your getting a cap in the county system at Essex is like becoming a senior officer.
Yeah, it's like at Northamptonshire, but we also do the player numbers in terms of all-time debuts. So everybody who's played first-class cricket for Northamptonshire has
I'm not sure about Essex.
A number. Snater in again, bowls outside the off stump. McManus just playing inside the line. Goes through to Wheater, and there's no run. Yes, a little project I did a few years ago, and we just sort of kept it going. People ask about what happens when 2 players make their debut in the same match. Do we do it in terms of who sets foot on the field first? And it's far too complicated. You can't possibly do it that way. It's alphabetical if they play in the make their debuts in the same match. So Kelly was 533 and Young 534. Here's Snater in again, bounding in, bowls to McManus, plays that much more confidently up to mid-wicket, and there's no run. I think there's a substitute on, isn't there? Toppers, I think it's Josh Rymel in there, I think.
I've just tried to look at the numbers.
Yeah, I think Josh Rymel's in there at mid-wicket. Not sure who's off, but we can work it out by a process of elimination. Here's Snater, turning from down below us from this river end here at Chelmsford, bowls to McManus outside the off stump. Good leave, tight leave around the line of off stump. Snater does the old RADA audition in terms of how could that possibly miss the off stump, but it did. It's a maiden for Snater, 16 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 41. He has the wicket of Emilio Gay today, and at the end of that over, Northamptonshire 212 for 5, with Proctor on 49, McManus on 5. The only slight difference in terms of the numbering was an entirely subjective one on my part, which was obviously with Northamptonshire, the first class match they played, which was against Hampshire in 1905 down at Southampton. I did decide that George Thompson should be number 1 because he basically batted and bowled Northamptonshire into first class cricket. So
fair.
Nobody's argued.
Oh, that's a decent delivery there from the Essex bowler, and Sam Cook is going to concede
3.
three runs, and that brings up the 54. Luke Proctor, who raises his bat, who's been pugnacious, resilient, stoic and awkward as he's scored his half century. 52 runs, and he's faced 134 balls in that knock. Remaining overs just under 12. Cook turns, bowling now to Lewis McManus from the Hayes close end. Galloping in, he bowls outside off stump, decent pace and bounce through to the keeper, no run. No, I'm searching and I can't find much.
No, fair enough. It's getting towards that time of the day, of course, and we also start to think about who we're going to be having a chat with after close of play. I think I'll have a little word with. Nobody's done anything spectacular for Northamptonshire, but I think probably having a little chat with Rob Keogh, reflecting his 100th first-class appearance for the club.
This fellow's played well. Luke Proctor.
He has. Yeah, he has. He's done a terrific job. They tend not to particularly like, and obviously we'll see him. He may be out shortly, but they tend not to really like doing interviews when they're not out. I think overnight. I think they usually like to do it when the innings is actually. Yeah, a little bit like that. But in any case, I think, as I say, Rob Keogh's his 100th first-class appearance is worth a chat, and he's also very good. He's always give you a good, honest reflection of the day's play.
Cook in again. He's just bowled 2 dot balls in succession to Lewis McManus. Cook's got the ball. He now throws it from first slip out all the way to Paul Walter, who throws it across from mid-off to mid-on, and his captain, who's a huge shiner of the ball. I don't know who is going to be up for Essex. Maybe one of the bowlers whose endeavours have been pretty good today.
Could ask Mark Steketee about bowling to safe Zabe.
Yes. As Cook bowls another tall, nice, strong delivery, nice and straight, which is respected by the Northamptonshire batsman, a wicketkeeper batsman.
You might need the bleep on it, possibly once or twice. If no, it's been a good contest all day. Good contest.
And there's still a little bit to go tonight. 3 slips and a gully weight. Cook's in, bowls a decent ball, and goes through to the keeper. There is no run. 215 for 5. A couple of the spectators are stirring. They're going home, perhaps to catch a bus, to get the car back home, where perhaps tea's been laid on.
I thought I'd missed something then, because as soon as that last ball went into the gloves, Matt Critchley and Simon Harmer from the slip cordon set off as though somebody had fired the starting pistol, and I thought, they're running up to congratulate the bowler. Have I missed something here? I think they were just sort of trying to keep themselves animated and loose.
Yep.
They suddenly sprinted up to the other end. It's going to be Steketee, he of the headband stroke bandana, who's going to start a fresh over from this river end. He's bowled 16 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 41 so far. 3 slips and a gully in place. He bowls to the left-handed Proctor, who again just absorbs that ball, just drops it down in front of.
Still quite a slowish wicket.
It is.
Really changed throughout the day.
No, it's actually done slightly. Famous last words. It's actually done slightly less with the new ball than I thought it might. Yeah. But well, we'll see. As you say, there's still plenty of cricket to be played tonight. Another 3/4 of an hour or so as Steketee comes in, bowls to Proctor on his hip, and Proctor, as he often does, just getting inside the line and looking to help it down towards fine leg. So he scored quite a few runs down there today. This time he doesn't make contact. He just drops off the pad into the onside and Walter comes in from square leg to field. There's no run this time for Proctor. 52 not out off 136 balls so far today after being sent in at number 4. Snate around the wicket again, bowls to in, he drives pleasantly through mid-on. I think he's going to get 4 for this. It's heading up towards the boundary at this river end of the ground, and indeed it does.
Good shot.
A good shot from Proctor, another boundary to him. He goes to 56, and Northamptonshire up to 219 for 5. Again, Proctor, what he's very, very good at, and you will have seen, I'm sure, players like this done over your long career, that they just soak up pressure, and then as soon as there's something there to hit, they'll put it away, and they must be intensely frustrating for the bowlers, because they can beat them 5 or 6 times, 5 times and over, and still go for 4 off the last ball. Here's Snater in again, bowls to Proctor, comes across his stumps, plays it up to mid-wicket, where it's fielded by Paul Walter. I was thinking of somebody like, in that great Essex side, something like Brian Hardy, who was, I would imagine, quite frustrating to bowl at times, but
very true.
But superbly effective
Yes.
for Essex over many years.
I always remember Wakar Yunus. He hated Brian Hardy because he was so unconventional.
Here's Snater in again, so starting that one across the left-handed Proctor. Doesn't play at it, and it goes through to Adam Wheater.
I can remember Wakar Yunus coming from the Hayes Close end for Surrey, and Brian Hardy used to slay him. We used to call it the slay, and he would somehow just slightly back away, and it will be like Zorro, there will be this blade moving quickly, and he would hit it with the middle of the bat, and it would end in the top of the Tom Pearce stand.
Snater in again, bowls short to Proctor, ducks underneath it, watches it go through to Wheater. End of another over for Snater, 17 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 45, just the 4 runs conceded in that over. 219 for 5, Proctor is 56, McManus is 5, and we've got around about 40 minutes to go until the close.
Well, you're listening to BBC Essex, BBC Radio Northampton. Andrew Radd, Don Topley and Glenn Speller bringing you live ball-by-ball commentary on Division 1 Essex versus Northamptonshire. It's been a competitive day, as Andrew said, 219 for 5 off 85 overs, and it's going to be Sam Cook to continue with his 20th over. A little ball that sort of darts back and cannons off the pads into the offside. There is no run.
And as you hinted at there, Don, there's still an awful lot to play for today. I mean, you think of the difference between, let's say, 260 for 5 and, I don't know, 240 for 8. Mm-hmm. World of difference, and either scenario is very possible.
It is. I mean, Essex will say, we only need a wicket and we can get another. 1 brings 2. Cook in, forced into the leg side. That's a good looking shot. Well taken, well picked up, but alas, a single to the wicket-keeper, who moves to, I think he moves to 6.
I think, yeah.
McManus is on 6, Proctor on 56.
Yep, subject to audit. I mean, one of the interesting things about Taylor coming into the side, it does make the Northamptonshire batting a bit deeper. If you've got Tom Taylor at 8 and Matt Kelly, the Aussie, who's no mug with the bat, at 9, and then Gareth Berg, who also is no mug with the bat.
Yes, bold. And outside off stump through to the keeper, no run. And
then Ben Sanderson, who'll tell you that he's no mug with the bat. So there's a bit of depth in the Northamptonshire batting lineup in this match. Berg played really well against Gloucestershire, got some very valuable runs, and then was told he ought to retire by the Yorkshire bowlers towards the end of that match at the county ground on Sunday.
Similar to Darren Stevens.
Yes.
Cook round the wicket to the left-hander, who sensibly plays the ball back to the bowler, no run. Well, the sun's now gone behind a little bit of thicker cloud over to the west, as it makes its descent behind the pavilion. I should imagine it might just get a little bit chillier in the next 20 minutes.
Just going to see if they're still off for the light at Headingley, where no, they're back on there now. The light has obviously improved a little bit.
Cook around the wicket, 3 slips are waiting. There's an LBW shout, but it wasn't particularly the most impressive one. Steketee picks the ball up at fine leg. They take a leg by, which is signalled by the umpire. 220, or is it 221? 221.
221, I think, yeah.
Gentleman next to us in the corner of the top of the Tom Pearce stand, enjoying a flask of tea or coffee, maybe something stronger. Cook into the leg side. That's going to go down to fine leg, where McManus takes a single for the end of the over. The bowler Cook collects his jumper and cap and then goes down to fine leg. 222 for 5. David Shepherd, should he be at this ground, he would be bobbling up and down on one leg, wouldn't he?
He certainly would, yes. The late and much missed. I suppose we ought to be at the batting side, to be sitting there in the players area down to our right with feet off the floor. For now, it's Shane Snater running in again to start his 18th over of the day. 3 slips and a gully in place, bowling to McManus.
Bold, nip back.
And again, just did a nice little shake back into the right-hander. It was taken by Adam Wheater, I would have thought, around the line of leg stump, possibly even just outside. So it went late. Talking to Phil Rowe, Northampton's assistant coach, I mentioned earlier, who's quite a regular on commentary, and he was saying that at Northampton how it wobbles after the ball, wobbles after it goes past the bat, and he says having had to do the old mitt with bowlers bowling to them in his coaching days, it's you can be made to look very, very stupid indeed. You miss it completely. Here's Snater in again, bowling to McManus, in behind that, pushing it up to mid-off, where it's fielded by Tom Wesley. Yes, as Tom was saying, that it's not murky in the sense that they might think about coming off, but the bit of sunshine we had after tea has pretty much disappeared now, and yes, I would imagine out there it's going to be a little bit cooler. It might be fleece on for the interviews afterwards. Here's Snater. It's a really rocking approach, comes in bowls to McManus, who's nicely in behind that. Bat made a nice crisp sound as it played it up to Wesley at mid-off. McManus made a little bit of a fiddly start, just twitching at one or two outside off stump. Seems to be playing with a little bit more confidence now. He's faced 36 balls, so had a chance to have a look at what's going on. Here's Snater in again, bowls to McManus, and that left him. And again, I think he just played inside the line, dropped the hands out of danger, but just gives that little gesture to his batting partner, Luke Proctor, to show that, with his hand, to show that the ball did zip away. So well bowled, Shane Snater. A new ball, at 8 overs old, still going to be plenty of hardness there, plenty to help him, and I suppose when they get to the close, still going to be only 16 overs old, so they'll have another crack at it in the morning with the ball still fairly new.
Correct.
There's Snater in again, bowls big expansive drive, and he's caught in the slip cordon, and well, having said that he'd settled down a bit, he then went for an expansive drive, and Snater gets his reward. He took the edge and caught in the slips, and McManus goes for 7. It's a wicket for Snater, his second of the innings in Northamptonshire. 222 for 6, and the feet obviously were not off the floor. Double Nelson strikes.
Well, super catch, quick slick catch there, went very quick to Simon Harmer's left hand side. I have to say it really was a super catch because the ball went quickly. It had a bit of width on it, so McManus threw his arms at it, but it nicked it to Harmer's left, and he snaffled it quite easily, went quickly. So Snater collects his second wicket, that of Lewis McManus. McManus has gone for 7, and the score we just said is 2-2-2 for 6.
And Tom Taylor comes to the crease at number 8. It was a good catch, it flew, and he was also maybe slightly obscured by first slipper, I think was just coming across as well.
It was.
So it was a good catch, well taken, and
Am I right in saying Essex have not dropped one today?
don't think they. Oh, the caught and bowled.
What do you think that carried?
I did, yeah. I think the caught and bowled to Harmer. I think it probably did.
I remember it.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I looked up, and I wasn't sure whether it did carry. But I will bow to you as the senior commentator who was on air at the time.
No, Glenn and I were on. I think it did anyway. Here's the new batsman Taylor, and leaves the first ball alone outside the off stump. Snater a bit frustrated that he didn't make the new batsman play. 2:22 for 6 at the end of the over. Snater, applause for him. 18 overs, 4 maidens, 2 for 45, and McManus goes, caught Harmer, bowled Snater for 7. Yeah, it was. We were saying at the time it was very intense. It was similar to the one that Matt Critchley took before tea, but Harmer went after it with 2 hands and put it down. And Proctor was on 27 then, and he's still there.
What's pleasing is if it was the only drop catch of the day, and they haven't dropped any in the slips. Okay, a couple have fallen short, but that was their Achilles heel for me last year. In the early part of the season, in the conference fixtures, they dropped a lot. That was the reason they didn't get into Division 1. Cook on his way in bowls, and that's well taken, well judged single, as the left-handed Luke Proctor takes a single, brings Taylor on to strike. Cook about to bowl. 2:23 for 6.
Yes, just looking at what's happening elsewhere in the country, obviously coming towards the back end of the day's play in all of the matches. And we'll start at Bristol. Surrey against Gloucestershire. Surrey lost 3 early wickets, now 2:43 for 4.
Cook in bowls. Taylor comes forward, plays a sensible 4 defensive, no run.
Good rescue act there, courtesy of Ollie Pope and Jamie Smith. Yeah, Jamie Smith still there, 88 not out. Sam Curran, 37 not out. Ollie Pope was out in the 80s. So good recovery there for Surrey.
The good thing for them is their bowlers get another day's rest.
Yes, true enough.
That's so important.
At Southampton, I'll come back to that in a sec.
As this time it goes short of the gully, well fielded by Nick Brown. Good bit of bowling from Sam Cook, but edged and played into the ground.
Hampshire all out for 246 against Lancashire. Just looking to see what Jimmy Anderson finished with there, because he's having a game today with Lancashire again. Come back to that in a sec.
Cook, right arm over, all played by Taylor, plays it back to the bowler on his follow through. There is no run.
Sorry, Anderson profligate today, 14 overs, 6 maidens, 3 for 24. Went round the park, didn't he? Where else? Taunton,
the flatbed.
Yeah, Somerset 287 for 3.
Are they? They've lost a wicket. Go on.
Against Warwickshire.
Abel still in. Cook on his way in. Bowls. Plays off the back foot. No run.
Abel is out for 70.
Played well last week in his 100.
Yeah, Banton and Hildreth in there now for Somerset. Here's Steketee running in away from us, bowls to Taylor, and Taylor's pushing forward out onto the onside this time, where it's fielded by Paul Walter, coming in from mid-wicket.
I can sense the temperature has dropped, Andrew. Hey?
It looks a bit like that, doesn't it?
Are you in the car or walking back to the hotel?
I'm in the car.
Are you? Good. You might have to have your, what do you call it, the seat warmed.
My advancing years. Do this over and then we shall get Glenn Speller back in to take you through to the close. Here's Steketee in again, bowling to Taylor. Just rocks on the back foot, pushes it up to mid-off where Wesley fields and there's no run. Yes, you can, as you say, sense that the tempo now, the hardy souls are left, but one or two others are just starting to think about drifting off home. I was thinking about the times, Don, it would have been when you were playing, as Steketee comes in again, bowls to Taylor, aims a big drive through mid-off, it finishes up going off through mid-on, but he's going to get a couple of runs. Not where he intended, but it looked the same in the book. 2 more to Taylor, goes to 3, and Northamptonshire to 226 for 6. It would have been, I would imagine, late 80s, early 90s, when they had the idea, some of the counties, of starting late and finishing late in ordinary county championship days. Not day-night in terms of floodlights or anything like that. They certainly did at Northampton. And we'd be finishing at 8 o'clock if they managed to get the overs in. And some days they didn't, and we'd still be there at 8:30. And I don't think it actually attracted a lot of different people into the ground somehow. Is Steketee in again, bowls to Taylor, plays it up to mid-on, fielded by Steketee, end of the over. Taylor is 3, Proctor is 57, 226 for 6. I mean, it was a brave idea to try and get people in after work, but I don't think it proved particularly popular. It was certainly unpopular with the players and extremely unpopular with the media, with deadlines and so on, so it didn't last very long. 226 for 6 it is. And joining Don now, it'll be Glenn Speller through to the close.
Thank you, Andrew. Just looking at the temperature tomorrow, if you're contemplating coming down to the Cloud FM County Cricket Ground, there's a little bit of sun early doors, but then it's grey most of the day with a little bit of sun after the end of the day's play. 11 degrees, that's the best I can offer any one of you tomorrow, as Cook is in, bowls short, and this is pulled into the leg side where there is no run. Sam Cook continues bowling. There's 1 for the over. The Essex seamer, who has now bowled, Cook has bowled in 22nd over, 2 for 38. He's done a sterling job, as he does week in, week out. Good evening, Mr. Speller.
You're right, the temperature has dropped. Somewhat, shall we say.
It has. It has, as Cook turns right arm over the round the wicket to Luke Proctor, through to the keeper, no run.
There's been a couple of problems today with the stream, I think, in terms of the pictures. But
oh, really?
Yeah, that is out of our control. But the club are aware there's been a couple of issues today. But they've got it back up and running within a couple of minutes. So I hope it's not spoiling your enjoyment of the game. You've still got us, but the pictures obviously help tell the story.
And you've been doing your sort of news roundup. What else is happening in the world of sport? Anything special?
Jurgen Klopp signed a new 2-year extension with Liverpool.
Cook in. This is pulled down to fine leg, where Sneketee's got a floppy hat on now, and there's no sun, but he's got a floppy hat on.
Judd Trump leads Mark Williams 7-1 in the first semi-final of the World Snooker.
You like your snooker, don't you?
Yeah.
You'll be watching it later?
Listen, when the news was broken at home, don't forget it's the World Final this weekend, Sunday and Monday. Frowns all around. But we'll squeeze some snooker in, don't worry, at the weekend.
Oh, will we?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Good. Does that mean you might be sort of slightly sleepy-eyed in the
Possibly.
Cook in bowls. An immaculate 4 defensive there. Out to the textbook that was from young Tom Taylor. 227 for 6. He's determined to be here tomorrow.
It's been a good day's county cricket. It's not one that we'll look back on in 3 or 4 years' time going, do you remember the opening day of the game between Essex and Northamptonshire, third round of games of the season? But it's been a good even battle between bat and ball.
It has. Northamptonshire haven't been allowed to run away with many runs. This time he comes forward again. I have to say, Tom Taylor, probably quite a tall young fella, has come forward with his giant pads on and very happily played on the front foot. I would suggest that Sam Cook might just get out of the bowler's union and shove one up his nose in a minute.
Possibly, just try to unsettle him a little bit, because he can just keep repeating that shot, otherwise just playing nice and solidly and defensively.
On this slow wicket, Cook. And there's a ball that goes wide and wider, may have swung, but it started off too wide. End of the over, 2:27 for 6, and we've had 91 overs.
Got through the overs today as well, haven't we? This could be our first almost on-time finish of the season so far. We've gone well beyond 6 o'clock.
Harmer,
virtually every other game. Yeah. So what we got? We got 6 more to go, 5 more to go in the day. Never know, might squeeze a couple of bonus ones in. Unlikely, but you never know. But yeah, Harmer's going to bowl from this river end with Hampshire. 2:27 for 6. Proctor's played very nicely for his 58, very circumspectly. And that half century from Will Young earlier on in the day. Emilio Gay seemed quite well set at one point as well, before edging behind to Shane Snater. And all this after Northamptonshire were put it to bat and lost their captain to the 3rd ball of the day. So Simon Harmer is going to bowl to Luke Proctor. Right arm around to the left-hander. One slip in, a forward short leg as well. Harmer is in, and Proctor just follows that with the bat and plays defensively out to the floppy-hatted Shane Snater. Still got the bandana on under there as well. Very white, that floppy hat as well. Could be new for this season. That's not one that's been hanging around in the cricket bag for a few years, is it?
No.
Here's Harmer in once again, and Proctor again angling that one behind square on the offside, and there's no run.
No. Got very much grey cloud now. It's sort of certainly filled in as the sun has retreated behind the pavilion.
Here's Harmer, still whirling away, quicker, but pushed back down the pitch for no run. Again by Proctor, who'll want to be there when they come out tomorrow morning. Came in slightly higher up the order today, swapping places with Saif Zaib. Here's Harmer. He was getting lots more flight on that one, a bit more of a loop, and driven up to mid-on to Feroz Kushi. Good sharp call there from Proctor, and they scamper through for the single. 2:28 for 6. A few more people have left the Tom Pearce stand away to our right hand side, and a few more have got their overcoats on now as well, because as you say, the temperature has dropped. So I've had this little light jacket on all day, actually. I just noticed, I haven't taken it off all day, just realised that. There's Harmer over the wicket this time. Lots of flight and drift on that as he bowls to Taylor, and Taylor just pushes compactly up to Kushi. No run again. Feroz Kushi's looked very keen in the field today. First onto everything that comes anywhere near him. This next one from Harmer is flatter and quicker, and pushed out to the onside to Matt Critchley, who took the flip catch this morning to miss Vasconcelos, and then took a good diving one-handed caught and bowled effort as well just before the tea interval, so he's had an impact on the game. But it is the end of the over. 2:28 for 6.
I had a text from a traditional cricket follower from Norfolk saying he doesn't enjoy the word turgid when appropriate with the long format of the county game.
No, it's not been turgid.
So what did I... Attritional.
Attritional, yes.
Is that
I think
better?
that's probably right, isn't it?
I hope Mr. Clark in Framlingham Earl enjoys the word attritional.
Attritional is a good word. Turgid makes it boring. Attritional means that neither side has given anything away, any quarter.
I'll certainly concede that perhaps I was wrong. I'll try not to use turgid. I will use attritional.
Duly noted.
Yep. Slap on the wrists. I could imagine him sitting in his deck chair listening to us. Well, this is Steketee, who comes in with number 6 on his back. First ball is run down to fine leg, a little too straight on the leg stump, which is easily negotiated for the single. 2:29 for 6.
And if Northamptonshire can get away without losing any more wickets today, they'll be very, very pleased indeed. They'll feel that it has been their day. Whereas Essex have fought back after disappointing time with the ball this morning on what we've already said has been a very slow surface, I think.
Steketee, 3 slips in the gully. Again, Tom Taylor plays, well, he plays it so easily, just on the front foot. Little foot movement, not the greatest stride, but he negotiates it with such good hands. Doesn't follow through, just watches the ball onto his bat. Looking comfortable is Taylor on 3 not out, and his partner at the other end is on 60, 229 for 6.
Yeah, very unruffled, isn't he? He's had nothing to really disturb him from the way he's going about things. Maybe Steketee will solve it this time around.
Oh, so he bowls a ball of a bit of width, and he goes after it with a kitchen sink, set of golf clubs, and anything else he can find. He plays and misses.
He could have just let that one go, couldn't he? He was going past the second set, wasn't it?
Probably gone in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he can sum up the strength, Steketee, the big Australian, I don't want to call him a fast and nasty, but certainly I would try and shove one up Taylor. As Steketee is in, bowls short, outside off stump through to the keeper, dot ball.
He's bowled so well today, Mark Steketee. So well. There was that over where he just kept going past Safe Zabe's outside edge consistently, ball after ball after ball, and in the end he didn't sink to his knees, but he put his hands on his knees, looked at the ground, and just wondering what he had to do to get his reward for the day. But he hasn't got it so far. None for 37 with 2 balls to go of his 20th over.
Yep, done a sterling job. He comes in, bowls is driven up to mid-on where there is no run. It's almost as a tail ender. Taylor, if you bowl straight, he's comfortable. But like many tail enders, you bowl 4th stump line, and they're not quite sure where their off stump and their 4th stump are, and they just sort of kind of go fishing or get dragged into playing balls that they wouldn't want to. But when you bowl straight, they look very comfortable. Steketee on his way in, right arm over, bowls. This is driven down to 3rd man, where Taylor will get 4, slightly fortuitous, but nonetheless, listen, that's safe, and it's the end of the over. He moves to 7, score goes 3-3-3 for 6. 2-3-3 for 6. Just gave him the credit of 100 runs.
If they get to that, they'll have done very well.
They will have.
But that one flew past Nick Brown, not in catching distance, but flew past him at 4th slip, and there's a full-blooded drive, but he by no means got the full bat on it, and Essex see another potential opportunity fly away. And Simon Harmer's dropped that caught and bowled effort.
Was it definitely dropped?
It definitely carried. Okay. Yeah, his reaction to it told you
right.
as well that it carried. And he has the ball back in his hand again. He's going to bowl to Luke Proctor, who's moved on to 60. Strike rate just under 40 at the moment. Harmer is in, and Proctor's not going to give anything away. Far too experienced here. It's the man at the other end that might possibly give Essex an outside hope of sneaking another one out before the close of play. Where are we at now? 12 minutes away from 6 o'clock. And we're in the 94th over of the day. BBC Essex and BBC Radio Northampton are with you at Chelmsford. This next one from Harmer's pushed back down the pitch for no run again. A few more people just start wandering away to the exits over at that Hayes close end. You can see them heading out now, so they can get to the exit and stand and watch the final few balls of this day's play, making a head start. This next one from Harmer is played defensively out to the offside, where it's picked up by Critchley. Exchanges a glance with Simon Harmer, who's eschewed the shades now. They're in the hands of the umpire. Had been bowling in them earlier on in the day, but the sun's long gone. Harmer in again, that's flighted a bit more. And Proctor again just puts the front foot right down there, puts the bat in the way, and it comes off the inner part of the face of the bat. And Sam Cook tidies up, and there's no run again. 2 balls to go. A few people hanging on grimly until the end, want to see every ball that their money's bought them. Harmer in quicker and flatter, pushed back down the pitch for no run. And 1 more ball to go. Sir Alistair Cook still stood there at first slip. Had 1 sighter earlier on today, but bounced in front of him. Made a good stop in the end, but it smacked off his wrist, and he was rubbing that for a fair while. Harmer completes the over then, and Proctor plays defensively out to short leg along the ground, and there's no run. And a gentleman in front of us just wanting to see the final Simon Harmer over of the day, possibly thinking he might be the man to make the breakthrough. He hasn't. It's a maiden over, none for 56 for Simon Harmer from 23 overs today, and Northamptonshire are 233 for 6.
Yes, thank you for your emails and tweets today. If you want to email us, it's at the email address is bbcessexcricket@gmail.com, and the tweets, well, at BBC Essex Sport, at Old Man Rad, and at Toppers Senior. So always delighted to receive some interactions about any form of cricket. Good luck to Ben Stokes, who was named as England captain today. Steketee. This is a decent ball which is well fielded by Feroz Kushi at backward point. It was driven by Taylor but stopped beautifully by backward point. 233 for 6. We've got many emails coming in.
No, I think we're done for the day now. It was tend to slip off just after 4:30 when people start heading for home. We've had plenty throughout the day though, so thank you for getting in contact with us. These subjects have been wide and varying, from players who play for both sides to cinema to Sam Cook possibly lining up for England.
Steketee in, bowls a short ball, and I have to say Taylor leaves that nicely, watches it go through to the keeper very comfortably. There is no run. Interestingly, Glenn, obviously we do have an England captain now, and we do have a gentleman involved who's going to select the coaches.
Rob Key.
But we're not sure who's going to be picking the side for Ben Stokes. It could be Ben Stokes, because we might not be able to find out who the coaches are in such short time. Steketee bowls, shoulders, arms, doesn't play at this ball, through to the keeper, dot ball. And there's talk of Gary Kirsten. There's talk of one of the Australian brothers. What's his name? Forgotten his name. Otis Gibson has suggested he's not going to be
He's
involved.
only just joined Yorkshire, really, hasn't he?
Yeah. So we're not blessed with choices.
And then there's who captains the white ball sides as well, whether Owen Morgan continues.
Yeah, I would have thought he would until the end of the coming World Cup. And Nick, and it's been caught and grabbed by Harmer in front of first slip. He's gone in front of Sir Alistair Cook. That was a great snaffle by the big South African. It was like plucking apples. He just went and dived in front of Cook and took it one-handed. That, for us, was just a beautiful catch to see and witness straight in front of us.
Just had to make sure it was Simon Harmer who caught it, because had he not, Alistair Cook was across in behind him as well and had taken the position in case Harmer, but Harmer gets the big left hand out and makes the catch. And Mark Steketee has a wicket. At last, he has a wicket. He has reward for his day's effort, and I don't think there's anybody in here, possibly apart from the Northamptonshire dressing room, who would begrudge him that, because he's fully deserved it for all his efforts today. And Essex have this breakthrough before the close of play. 233 for 7, and a very, very good catch from Simon Harmer. You cannot keep him out of the game.
Yeah, well bowled, Steketee, but well caught by Simon Harmer. He really is. I mean, I thought it was a bit of their Achilles heel last year in the conference system, but Simon Harmer makes a difference to this side when he stands at slip, let alone his off spin and a bit of batting as well. So no, it's really good to see, and he snaffles those catches with his enormous hands. He really does. So that's tremendous for Essex. It's tremendous for Essex to get the 7th wicket with only remaining overs just the one and a bit. Well, they're going to try and be greedy and take one more. 8 down overnight really would be a good day for Essex, which would probably mean, from their own perspective, that Essex would feel that they can go and get a lead tomorrow. In the meantime, it's imperative that Northamptonshire don't lose any more wickets.
Matthew Kelly is the new batsman.
Australian, Western Australian.
Aussie against Aussie.
Yeah. Sure they've played against each other, whether it's Big Bash or Sheffield Shield. He's on his way in, Steketee. Kelly comes forward, plays it out to backward point very sensibly with the full face of the bat, and there is no run.
Good comeback.
233 for 7.
From Hampshire today, 246 all out in the end against Lancashire. Lancashire 26 without loss. Kent 254 for 5 against Yorkshire. They're back out at Headingley after a spell off a bad light. Somerset 318 for 3 against Warwickshire after being put in.
Abel?
And Surrey lost 4-3 early against Gloucestershire, but 264 for 4. And Somerset, Tom Abel made 17. He's out.
Right. Good 100 last week for Abel. And this time I think he's let that go, has Kelly, and that's well bowled. It's a short delivery from Steketee. He gets out the way, does Kelly, through to the keeper. End of the over. He got a wicket. He's now bowled 21 overs, 7 mains, 1 for 41. I'm going to say he's had a pretty good day. Not much reward for his endeavours, but nonetheless, that last 7th wicket will cheer him up no end.
Division 2, Derbyshire 280 for 3 against Glamorgan. Middlesex, Leicestershire, that's moved on a pace. Leicestershire 149 all out. Middlesex are 95 for 1. These games are all still live, by the way. Worcestershire 159 all out. Patterson took 8 wickets there. Nottinghamshire 170 for 4. Sussex, Durham 223 all out, which was a recovery, much like Hampshire's from earlier on. And Sussex are 48 without loss in response.
Okay, thank you for that.
And Simon Harmer from this river end with the time at 4 minutes away from 6 o'clock. He's in and bowling to Proctor, still there on 60. And you think Proctor's just going to see this one out as he's met the ball of the opening ball of this over with a dead bat. Adam Wheater exchanges a couple of words with him, very pleasant, I'm sure. And Simon Harmer is in again and to Proctor, and again it's sort of angled on middle and leg, and Proctor just pushes out to the onside for no run again. 233 for 7, the Northamptonshire score after losing the toss, being put in today by Essex. Here's Harmer in again, flatter and quicker, and Proctor again pushes back down the pitch. There's no run halfway through this over. Still a few people having conversations down in front of us, not going to leave to the very last second. The gentleman's got his scorecard there as well, he's been scoring all day. Grey skies now. Cloud cover's got a little bit lower. There's Harmer. He's in and bowls, and that's a slow turn outside off stump. He looks disgusted with that delivery, Simon Harmer, and Proctor just watched it go by because it started wide and went wider.
His arm was almost quite low as well.
Yeah, that one may have slipped out, I think. But 2 more balls to go. So we're 2 overs ahead of schedule here. Well, I never. Here's Harmer. And Proctor again lets that one go outside off stump. Bit quicker again from Harmer, a bit flatter. He's tried all his variations today. He's tried everything, but without reward. None for 56 with 1 ball of his 24th over to go. Proctor just pauses momentarily. He's ready now though. As Harmer loops that one up, and Proctor just pushes out to the offside, and there is no run. We are 2 minutes away still from 6 o'clock, so we're going to squeeze 1 more in before the close of play. Well done, everybody.
Yes, we're in the positive.
Yeah. Critchley had a spell, not a hugely long spell, but he had a spell, so got through the overs quite quickly there. And obviously Simon Harmer's had a long bowl today, but we've had the 96 overs in the day now. And Steketee's going to finish things off from the Hayes close end.
Well, certainly a little darker, a little cooler. Steketee turns, comes racing in from the Hayes close end bowls, and an immaculate defence by Matt Kelly. Aussie to Aussie, Queenslander to Western Australia. Slightly different accents. I think Kelly is quite a tall individual, perhaps taller than Steketee.
Jamie Smith is 4 runs short of a century for Surrey. Sam Curran's 46 not out as well.
He's only playing because Folkes isn't playing. Steketee short into Kelly's rib, plays into the offside. There is no run.
Folkes has been in good form this season. He's had to be as well, because the top order for Surrey ain't been great, and they have relied on their middle order, your Popes, your Folkeses, etc., to get them out of bit of holes on several occasions.
Yeah, be interesting to see if Curran bowls this game. He was allowed to bowl 15, but he only bowled 10 in the last game and suffered a reaction to his back, so he didn't bowl anymore. Steketee bowls and played immaculately there by Kelly, who hits the ball back to Steketee on his follow through, who traps it with his boot. It pops in the air and he catches it quite nonchalantly.
Somerset have lost a 4th now. James Hildreth's gone for 23. Oliver Hannon Dolby's taken 3 of the 4 wickets for Warwickshire today. Did the damage against Essex last week. All these games still ongoing. Kent 261 for 5. Daniel Bell Drummond made 109, second successive century for him.
Slips her down, Steketee bowls, and this goes through to the keeper. Goodish pace for 6 o'clock in the evening and is 22nd over, so well done to him.
Ollie Robinson unbeaten on 54 earlier in the day.
Kent's
Jordan
Ollie
Cox, yes, he's 54. Jordan Cox made 68 as well today. Compton 3, only his 2nd failure of the season. Crawley 4, that's several failures for him now, and leaning out for a duck.
In his 2-ball return,
duck. Yes, he's been out injured.
The captain. Steketee comes roaring in. Bowls played off the back foot into the offside. There is no run.
One more ball to go.
Very enjoyable day.
Yep, good day. A good day of classic county cricket, really, you call it. And Mark Steketee might want his feet in a bowl of ice at the end of the day, because he's given it absolutely everything out there. He's got his wicket for the day, which he deserved, but he's deserved so much more. But Northamptonshire have batted very, very well stoically and accruing runs. 233 for 7 is probably about right at the end of the day.
Steketee, what can he do? He bowls and there's a genuine play and miss. A ball of very good length which doesn't touch the batsman's bat. There is a gentle applause all round, and that concludes day 1 here at the Cloud FM County Cricket Ground, where Essex won the toss, invited Northamptonshire to bat, and they have finished the day on 233 for 7.
So that'll do it for us today then. Thanks to Andrew Radd, myself, Glenn Speller and Don Topley. Thanks to you for getting in touch with us as well. We'll be back tomorrow morning from 5 to 11 for day 2 of this game. So 233 for 7 is the Northamptonshire score, and we will see you tomorrow from 5 to 11.